Ministry of Defense of Ukraine shared the big news on official channels. A record number of military equipment was sent to Ukraine from the South Blind. Russian officials have not made a statement for days. Ukrainians started celebrations in Kherson region. Ukrainian people have proven that Russia is holding fake referendums. Russian army lost its southern line. The largest and critical bridge that Russia could attack was completely destroyed by a single rocket. Russia will soon have to withdraw completely. NATO stated that aid has been increased and aid continues to be sent to the Ukrainian army. There is great silence in Moscow. China has announced that it will cooperate with Russia. Tensions rose again after the announcement. United States warned China and Russia. NATO countries continue to send air defense systems to Ukraine. In a few weeks, Russian army will be completely withdrawn from the south and cut off from the Black Sea. Many critical developments continue to occur. We are starting to share breaking news with you. According to the breaking news, Ministry of Defense of Ukraine officially announced the capture of the Kherson region. Ukrainian troops took control of 90% of Kherson. In the center of Kherson, the Ukrainian flag began to wave. With the withdrawal of the Russian army, Ukrainian army took control of many areas during the day. Probably in 1 to 2 days, the west of Kherson will be completely under the control of Ukrainian army. Although Russian army wanted to make a planned withdrawal, the passages in the region were closed. Many Russian soldiers still remained west of the river. In addition, there are many armored vehicles and tanks in the western region. If the Russian troops cannot be withdrawn until Ukrainian army reaches the Oskil River, Moscow will again inflict heavy losses. In addition, Ukrainian army was not expected to advance so quickly. Russians began to leave Kherson, leaving their military equipment in the area. According to the statements, Ukrainian army will confiscate a large number of Russian military equipment. Ukrainian forces took control of the entire Kherson region, such as Byalozerka, Shiroka Balka, Shumensky, Pryazern, Kornobivka. As I mentioned, eventually Kherson's center was taken under control by Ukrainian army. In the last-minute statement made by Ministry of Defense of Ukraine, the Kherson region, where Russian soldiers have withdrawn, has passed under the control of Ukraine. Our soldiers have started to enter the city, he said. After the ministry's statement, it was reported that Ukrainian military units in the capital Kiev reached Kherson. Welcoming the soldiers with great enthusiasm, Ukrainians gathered in front of the administration building on Freedom Square in Kherson and unfurled the Ukrainian flag. In a statement on the subject, Ukrainian officials stated that almost all of the city was under control. As the celebrations continued, Russia's largest supply point was soon destroyed by the Ukrainian army. Antonovsky Bridge was completely destroyed as a result of missile attacks of Ukrainian army. In a video released, flowers were thrown at Ukrainian soldiers in a settlement and local people were seen hugging Ukrainian soldiers. Ukrainian soldiers showed the command centers where Russian forces were staying and the items they used. On the other hand, in a different image, a Russian soldier shared the image that the Antonovsky Bridge over the Dnipro River, which connects the right and left banks of Kherson, was blown up. Russian Ministry of Defense had decided that the defense line in the city of Kherson should be completely withdrawn to the left bank of Dnipro River. The capture of the Kherson region by Ukraine will change the whole course of the war. After Ukrainian army has completely taken control of the region, it will first start trading over the Black Sea. In addition, Crimea is within range of Ukrainian missile systems. Russian army was forced to withdraw from the area after losing too much strength on the southern front. In this process, new military equipment continues to be sent to Ukrainian army. For this reason, Ukrainian army can take action to clear the entire southern front first. Because Ukraine wants to completely cut off Russia's connection with Ukrainian territory. On the Eastern Front, I do not find it reasonable to advance to Russian border at this time, because Russian soldiers, who were unsuccessful in their ground operations, fled to Russian border and started artillery attacks from these regions. There are also military facilities belonging to Russian army on the Russian border. Therefore, Kiev should focus primarily on the southern front. If the eastern part of the southern front is cleared by Ukrainian army, Russia will have no connection with Ukrainian territory on the southern front. Then Ukrainian forces could send their troops to the Eastern Front. In addition, launching an early operation on the Eastern Front could lead to the full participation of Belarus in the war. As you know, Ukrainian engineers continue to build a long wall and fence on Belarusian border. Russia lost the war on Ukrainian soil. For this reason, the Ukrainian forces should start clearing the regions where they are more advantageous. Russian army is already unable to conduct successful operations on the Eastern Front. It is clear that Russian soldiers have a major coordination problem. On the other hand, the winter months are approaching. In this process, Ukrainian army is in a more advantageous position, because Ukrainian army can deliver to its soldiers at the front in a much safer and more comfortable way. However, the Russian soldiers on the territory of Ukraine cannot make a comfortable shipment. Air defense systems sent by Western countries do not only destroy missiles sent by Russia, at the same time, it can directly destroy the unmanned aerial vehicles used by Russia. For this reason, Russia has not been able to conduct detailed reconnaissance flights for a long time. Russian artillery units, which cannot complete their reconnaissance missions, cannot carry out successful attacks in this process. In this process, we can say that Ukrainian army achieved air dominance in the war. Because Russian unmanned aerial vehicles cannot perform successful operations, but Bayraktar 2 terabits unmanned aerial vehicles in Ukrainian army can perform attack and reconnaissance missions without being caught by Russian air defense systems. Unmanned aerial vehicles in Russian army were produced with a very simple technology. However, Bayraktar 2 terabits unmanned aerial vehicles in Ukrainian army have a very powerful electromagnetic warfare system. For this reason, Russian air defense systems in the region cannot detect these unmanned aerial vehicles. Bayraktar 2 terabits unmanned aerial vehicles can make very detailed reconnaissance. In addition, most of the Russian air defense systems in the region were destroyed by Bayraktar TB2s. South Korea is sending a record number of military equipment to Ukraine. The huge arsenal to be sent to Ukrainian forces through the secret arms deal between Seoul and Washington was on the war agenda. According to the news of the Wall Street Journal, the ammunition and weapons to be supplied by South Korea will be sent to Ukraine by the United States authorities. In August, it was stated that the stock of 155mm artillery shells of United States decreased. According to the agreement, South Korea will send 100,000 155mm artillery shells to United States to be sent to Ukraine. South Korea's Ministry of Defense said in a statement that a South Korean company is in talks with United States officials to support United States Army's stockpile of 155mm artillery shells. A Pentagon spokesman confirmed that United States is in talks with South Korean industrial base for munitions. As I mentioned in the previous videos, Ukrainian army carries out about 7,000 artillery attacks in one day. The delivery of new ammunition and weapons to Ukrainian army points to huge problems for Russia. In addition, Ukrainian army, which has taken the southern front under control, can send most of the newly sent systems to the eastern front. Once the southern front is under control, Ukrainian army will not have to split its force. Kiev officially made statements of victory. Great celebrations were held in Kherson. New operations are starting very soon. We have come to the end of another video. We will continue to convey the events that took place in the coming hours to you quickly and accurately. We continue to report the events objectively to you.